Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about the performance improvements that EF Core team has done in .NET 7. So if you're performing create, update, delete operations in EF Core 6, then there are two queries running behind the scenes for each of those operations. Let's talk about insert query. So if you're adding an object into your DB set and if you're calling save changes async, then there are two queries running. One is to insert the record. You can see that there is an insert query running with parameters. And then there is another query runs to bring in the ID of inserted record. It brings that auto-generated ID so that we can use that in our code. Also, if you are running an update query with parameters, then the update query runs, which updates the record, and then there is another query runs, which is select changes to check if the update query ran properly or not. And same thing happens with the delete query too. When you're running a delete, or the remove function for your DB set, and when you're calling save changes async, it runs this delete query and then it runs select changes query to see if your record got deleted or not. But in EF Core 7, that's not happening. There's only one query running for each of these operations. So when you're running an insert query, that it only runs the insert query and it uses returning keyword to return the auto-generated ID for the inserted record. When you're running an update query, it returns 1 to indicate that that update query ran properly. When you're running delete query, then it uses returning keyword again to indicate that delete query ran properly. Let's check this out in our demo. For demo, I have two projects here. One is Web API 6 and Web API 7. Both of them are Web API projects, and like it indicates, one of them is for .NET 6 and another is for .NET 7. This is where I'm using EF Core 7. This is where I'm using EF Core 6. So let's check out the solution. Here, I have only one database. This is a SQLite database, but this improvement has happened in other providers too. Let's take a look at what's there in the database. There's only one table in this database, which is category. If I open this table, then the records don't really matter. We are going to run insert, update, delete queries in this table. We don't really care for what records are in there. But I'm going to use SQLite. And I have run reverse engineering on this database and I've generated a context, which is, generating a DB set for us for category. And it's generating on model creating, which is, making that mapping with the model which gets generated. So it's generating the properties for my column and it's generating the DB context so that it can map those properties with the database column. So it's typical database first EF Core setup here. And then I have a controller which I'm using actually for testing these insert, update, delete queries. So here I'm injecting Northwind context here so that I can perform database operations. So I'm injecting that, and then I have this get method where I am performing insert, update, delete. So in this get method, you'll see that I'm creating a new category. I'm assigning the category name and description. I'm just creating a new category. And then I am inserting the record. I'm adding that category into my DB set and calling save changes. And then I'm updating the same record. I am passing that category and calling update method. And then again calling save changes. Deleting that record towards the end, calling remove method, which will remove it from the DB set, and finally it will save the changes. To show you that this is really .NET 6 and I'm using EF Core 6, I'm going to go to my project file here and you can see that the target framework is .NET 6 and the packages that I'm using are EF Core 6. You can see the SQLite package and the design package is EF Core 6. Now let's run this and see what exactly gets logged in the console log when I call this get method. And this doesn't return anything. So this is going to open Swagger, but it's not going to return anything. I'm returning empty, we're going to check the results in our console log. So let's quickly run this. For that, I'm going to go to Web API folder here, and I'm going to say .NET Watch. This is going to build my project and is going to open Swagger so that we can execute that method. And it's showing our method here. I'm going to try it out. Like I mentioned, it's not going to return anything. But if I go to my console log here, you can see that in EF Core 6, it runs insert query and then it runs another query. It makes that round trip and gets that auto-generated ID for the inserted record. It also does the same thing for update query. It updates the record with parameters and then it runs another query to make sure that update query ran properly. And same thing is happening for delete. It's deleting the record and then finally running another query to check that the record got deleted or not. Let's see what's happening in .NET 7. So if I go to my Web API 7 project here, everything is same here. The only difference is I'm using EF Core 7 here, the preview version of it, and I'm using SQLite provider for EF Core 7, and the target framework is 7. Now, like I said, everything is same. We have a DB context, we have a model for our database. We also have the same database, which has the same table and same table structure. Nothing is different. Even the controller is same, where we are performing the insert, update, delete query. So if I go to my controller, here I'm injecting Northwind context, and then I'm creating a new category. I'm inserting that category, I'm updating that category, and then I'm deleting that category, and I'm not returning anything because we are going to check the results in the console log. So let's go to our Web API 7 folder here, and then I'm gonna run .NET Watch here and see what happens when we try to insert, update, delete records. So if I try this Web API, then it's not going to return anything. But if I go to my console log, you'll see that now it's running only one query. When I'm inserting a record, it's inserting the record with parameters, and it's using returning keyword to return the auto-generated ID for the inserted record. It's not making another round trip in order to get that ID. If I'm updating a record, it's again using returning keyword to tell me that, the update query ran properly instead of running another query. When I'm deleting the record, same thing is happening. It's returning 1 to indicate that delete query ran properly. In some other providers, they're using output keyword, but for SQLite, they're using returning keyword to run only one query. But that's the only difference which is there for the other providers. And this should work fine for the other providers too. So this is the update and performance improvement that EF Core team has done in EF Core 7. Please check that out. I hope that was helpful. Now, before I end the video, I would like to thank my members on YouTube. Thanks for supporting the channel. And if you have any questions, you can post them in the comment section below, or you can reach out to me on my Twitter or Facebook handle. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.